Brian Windhorst from ESPN joining us here on the show. How you been, Brian?
I'm great, Rich. I'm in Southern California.
Oh, well, good. Next time when you're out here, you got to come out here personally. But at any rate, in the
Send
meantime,
a car.
pleased to have you on the phone. What do you think Ty Lue meant by that?
I don't know, and I've talked to some people in the last 12 hours, and they don't know either. One of the things, if you know Ty, when he says, I don't know, it's kind of a tick. It means he does know. And the guy who you just praised there for the follow-up question is Jason Lloyd of The Athletic, and he is as good as any beat writer in the country.
It's a great question. Great follow-up. Sometimes the best follow-ups are the easiest one.
Well, the Cavs beat writers, I used to be one, so maybe I'm biased, but the Cavs beat writers allow no BS. They will be on your tail. You're not going to get by the Cavs beat writers. They've seen too much you-know-what over the last couple of years. Rich, 3 years ago in January, the team was 19-20. They traded half the roster. 2 years ago in January, they fired David Blatt. Last year, it was in January. I think it was early February, but LeBron snapped and went off about the front office not having enough playmakers. Something about this team, and maybe you can credit it to LeBron and something that happens with him. At midseason, they just get sideways. And now, being responsible, I would say, well, just because it happened the last 3 years, and they ended up going to the finals, doesn't mean it'll happen this year. But I also think it's instructive that you don't look at something that happens in January with this team and all of a sudden throw the die on the ground and say, this team's no good. But, it's definitely worrisome. Forget about the results on the court. If there's genuine issues within the team, and again, I haven't been able to identify what Tyler was talking about. I'd love to be able to come on here and say this is exactly what's happening. I've tried and haven't been able to find out. So it's definitely something worth watching.
Well, then let's go straight for the third rail. Could it be LeBron? Based on what we saw last night, where he took over the huddle at one point, Brian.
That's been happening for years.
No, I know that, but this one in particular, though, I haven't seen it that demonstrative and that long.
So did you
right?
see the social media outcome of that? So it went on to, I don't know who put it on Instagram, but then Kyrie Irving liked it.
I saw that
on Instagram.
Yes, he did.
And I don't know what the Celtics travel plans were. The Celtics played yesterday in London. So either he was on a plane back across the Atlantic Ocean, I assume flying over the round part of the Earth, or he was watching social media in the middle of the night in London. But the reason that was interesting is because if people remember, there were times where Kyrie got barked at by LeBron in huddles. And one of the things that we saw over and over on loops on SportsCenter and other shows when Kyrie demanded a trade or eventually got traded was LeBron barking at him in huddles. So, that was my little thought. I thought, low-key thing of Kyrie of saying, yeah, thank God I'm not there anymore. But the thing with LeBron is, and Kyrie is the outlier. When you coach LeBron, when you have LeBron on your team as an owner, when you have LeBron on your team as a teammate, there are going to be certain things about it that are unpleasant. He is going to do things and put you in situations that make you unhappy. But at the end of the day, so many of his teammates and coaches and owners have been rewarded with great contracts, with championships, with elevating their entire status, with elevating their game. For most people, Rich, the surcharges and the side effects of playing with LeBron are worth it. And Kyrie was one of the few, if maybe the most high profile, to raise his hand and say, it ain't worth it to me. And so this is part of what happens, whether he's talking about LeBron or not. That was true 2 years ago. It'll probably be true 2 years from now.
Brian Windhorst joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what do you think the strategy is? Do they make a big splash in trade deadline? Rumors about DeAndre Jordan or whatever might happen with any other star player that could be viewed by their team as expendable? Brian?
They got two problems with that. Number one, DeAndre Jordan, if they traded for him today, which they've been talking to the Clippers, it could happen. But if they traded for him today, he would make them better tomorrow. I don't know if he makes them better against the Warriors, because the Warriors can put out lineups that neutralize DeAndre Jordan because he pulls him away from the basket. He also has 1 year. This is it on his contract, and he also can be hacked out of a game. I think the better trade to make is for a really good perimeter player so that you can play your best center at center against the Warriors, and that's LeBron. That's what they did last year in the playoffs. They put LeBron basically at free safety, had him play defensive center, and they were so good. And then they got to the Warriors, and they ran into a team where LeBron had to work on defense because he couldn't just float around, and they got beat. The best thing they could do, in my opinion, would be to get another wing player and prepare for a series of the Warriors that way. But here's the other problem, Rich. The Brooklyn pick, a lot of people slam it and say, well, the Cavs are stupid. They should have known the Nets were going to be better. It's going to be the 8th pick. It's not that valuable. Look at the standings. The Nets are 2 games. If the Nets win the next 2 games, that pick's going to be the 11th pick. If the Nets lose the next couple of games, it could be they're only 2 games out of it being the 3rd pick. And this draft is super loaded. They just don't know where it's going to be, And if I'm the Cavs, I'm sitting here saying, wait a minute, we could be trading a top 3 pick here in a draft that might have a couple of Hall of Famers in it for a rental player like DeAndre Jordan. I just can't see him doing it. I think if they use it, it's going to have to be on a guy who's going to be there long term, and it's hard to construct a trade like that because you don't know what the pick's going to be.
But isn't part of the next couple of months to make sure that everything's ready for LeBron to not only win this year but keep him put, Brian?
This is a circular chicken and egg situation. LeBron will not commit to the Cavs going forward. Therefore, the Cavs have to protect their future. But at the same time, they have to keep the team as good as possible to keep LeBron. It's a circular thing here. What I would say, my opinion on the matter, LeBron is an irreplaceable resource. Once he leaves, you will never replace him. The organization could exist for another 50, 75 years, and you not see him again. To me, I would probably trade the pick and deal with the rebuild long term. The Lakers made this same decision with Kobe. They sold out to keep Kobe. They gave him the $50 million contract at the end. It set the entire organization back. They're still recovering it. But every time I walk into Staples Center, I see 5 banners up there that Kobe helped them win. To me, I would do that. But it's easy for me to say that. Dan Gilbert has already been burned by LeBron once. He had 4 miserable, terrible years. He doesn't want it to happen again, and he's hedging his bets, and I get it. But, boy, this is a tough situation. And this is the first thing that I said when they made the Kyrie Irving trade. They put themselves in an impossible position for February because LeBron doesn't care who's in the draft. He doesn't care who the best 19 or 20-year-old is. He wants a man he can win with tomorrow, and they put themselves in a position where it's going to come to a head by February 8th.
Brian Windhorst here on the Rich Eisen Show. A few more minutes left. While we're sitting there in Staples, why haven't the Lakers come out and given any sort of public statement in regards to Luke Walton? Why do you think? Well, I know that they don't want to engage LaVar directly in the same way that sometimes when my kid.
That's not what you really think, though. What do you think?
What do you mean? What do I think? I
was on the hot seat.
How do you read that? Being a veteran,
I know, because even if he is on the hot seat, they can't make this change because then you give the impression he's running the franchise, Brian. That's the problem. I mean, why? To me, it's embarrassing that Rick Carlisle has said more, and Popovich and Steve Kerr has said more in support of Luke Walton than the franchise publicly. Brian.
Yeah, let me tell you, whatever you want to say about LeVar Ball, he has smoked out the fact that the Lakers do not support Luke Walton. And that is now crystal clear. And there are now guys out there wondering, openly to me, executives, coaching agents, I wonder who the Lakers are going to hire as their next coach. Because that has been revealed here, that they do not have unconditional support for Luke.
But they have to, Brian. They have to, even if they don't. They have to, because otherwise it's going to – what would be worse? What would be worse than giving the impression that the dad of their 2nd overall pick runs the franchise? What would be worse than that? Nothing, in my mind.
Okay, well, you know that they've had this discussion, right? And they've still elected not to say anything. So what does that tell you?
Oh, man. That's nutty.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, Brian. I got to be honest with you. That's nutty. Nutty.
Well, your point is well taken. I don't disagree with you, but it's amazing what this revealed. And this is what it revealed. It revealed that they're not willing to back up their coach. And this is a layup because, it's not like if you back him up today, you're not allowed to make a coaching change
right.
in May. But boy, does it say a lot to me. And I know their excuse. I know what their excuse is. But to me, being around the NBA for 15 years, all the time when you have some sort of crisis in quotes, it's always an opportunity, almost always. And to me, when I saw this, I go, oh, you know what? This is actually a great opportunity for the Lakers. They can come out. They're on a 9-game losing streak. Let's come out and back our head coach. Let's do it. Let's spin this and use it as a rallying point for the team. And by the way, they've won 3 games in a row.
I know. So then
it's a good time. It would have been a good time to do it.
So then, if we're completely off the rails, Brian, if we're completely off the rails, then who is Kobe telling Rob Pelinka should be the next head coach of the Lakers, Brian?
Well, LeBron James. I don't know about Kobe. I can't speak about Kobe.
No, I know. I mean, what I'm saying is that this is crazy talk.
You want to know what people are saying behind the scenes?
Sure.
You want to know what they're saying?
Please.
What coach has LeBron tweeted about most recently? What coach got fired this year and LeBron tweeted about him?
Los
Angeles native David Fizdale. Now, again, this may not be true. The Lakers may intend to keep him, but what I'm telling you is the way that the events have gone down. Like I got executives in my ear, I got agents in my ear saying, "Oh yeah, they're probably going to hire David Fizdale." And again, it may not be true. They may intend to keep Luke, and David Fizdale may not even want the job. I mean, I'm sure he does, but
oh yeah,
David Fizdale may not even want the job, but. By not speaking about it, by letting it fester, this is what is created. And you don't think that this gets to the players? Of course it does.
Of course. Take that for data, Brian Windhorst. Okay.
Take that for data.
There it is. Okay.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.